I just sent those over. There's a couple of different ones. There's one that's brighter than this, kind of the darker one. So whatever you prefer.
Hello, my name's John Meadows. I'm co-host for this evening. We're glad you were able to take time out on this beautiful Saturday evening. My goal tonight is just to moderate the initial discussion tonight and then turn it over to our amazing co-host, Dr. Laura Dorsey. But I wanted to give you a little background on virtual scholarship fairs. Virtual scholarship fairs is a new platform that's been developed in partnership with Infinite Scholars and More College Offers, and it's hosted on Visit Days, which is an innovative platform that you signed on to tonight, and we really appreciate the partnership of the three organizations to make this all happen. And really our goal is to help primarily juniors better prepare for their journey that they're about to go on to get the most from their search for a scholarship and other funding sources that are available. And each night we've been hosting these events every night since Monday, and our last one will be tomorrow night. And the programs have just been fantastic, and hopefully you'll be able to view all of the different sessions that we've done, because it's very helpful, particularly for juniors, that they start their search for funding for college. And hopefully, it's a very successful journey for you. And we'll be hosting similar programs throughout the year, and particularly during major events and major times when you need to make some decisions as far as evaluating scholarships and those type of things. So stay tuned, and you'll be getting more information from us as we develop our programming throughout the year. But I just wanted to start with kind of going through an agenda for tonight. And the first thing is to again introduce our co-host, excuse me, Dr. Laura Dorsey. She's Vice President of Mission and Engagement at Infinite Scholars. She'll tell you a little bit more about Infinite Scholars and the great work that they're doing in a number of markets around the country. And today's presentation will be presented by Anna Zimmerman and Janie Stevens, and they're both from University of Missouri, Kansas City. And what we've done is really try to identify speakers that really are experts in the fields that the topics that we're asking to present. And if it's like the other programs that we've done, we have no doubt it's going to be a really good program. So appreciate it, and we'll hopefully be done within an hour. But we're going to answer as many chats as possible. So feel free to ask any questions. If it's relevant to this subject, that's great. If it's not, that's okay. We have experts that can handle virtually any question that you want to throw at us. So feel free to, be as involved in the chat as possible. We really encourage that. After the presentation by Anna and Janie, Dr. Dorsey will come back with additional resources that we have available through Infinite Scholars that you might want to view off of our Infinite Scholars website. And then we try to keep it within an hour. Each program has been a little bit over, so that's okay, and it's been well worth the extended 2 or 3 minutes that we went over the time frame. A couple of technology reminders. Please locate the chat icon on the bottom of your ribbon of your site. When you chat, only the panelists will see your chat. So you don't have to worry about it being broadcast to everybody. Only the panelists will see your chat, and we'll direct the questions to the appropriate panelists that can handle it. And for best viewing, please close all browsers and tabs. So we don't have any videos tonight, so you don't have to worry about that, but we do ask you to close all browsers and tabs to get the best viewing possible for the program. Again, I just want to keep things going, and I want to introduce our co-host. Gosh, I'm having a hard time with that one. Co-host Dr. Laura Dorsey. She's Vice President of Missions and Engagement at Infinite Scholars. So Laura, turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that great introduction, and good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you tonight. A Saturday evening that you took your time out to more educate yourself, especially when it comes to scholarships. Infinite Scholars, I'm the Vice President of Mission and Engagement, as John said, at the Infinite Scholars. Infinite Scholars does one thing and we do one thing well. We help send financially disadvantaged students, would provide them with the resources that they need to attend their post-secondary education. We do this mostly by facilitating scholarship fairs across the country, mostly in the Midwest and the Southeast. We do 33 fairs across the country in a number of different cities, and obviously Kansas City is one of them. So we're very glad to have our panelists tonight be from Kansas City. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Infinite Scholars a little bit later when we talk about the additional resources, but you came here for some information and I want to make sure that you get it. Now, one of the things that I really think that this topic is so important is that if you watch the news anywhere for the past couple of years, they've had all of these different scholarship scams where, you know, people have been paying people to get scholarship information and paying people to get their students in college or whatever. Just a great big mess. Okay. And the thing is you think, well, how did people get hooked up in this? Didn't they know any better? Well, obviously they didn't. And so we're going to make sure that that's not an issue right now, because we're going to make sure that you're introduced to everyone who knows better. So let me tell you about our two speakers that we're having for tonight. Okay. The first speaker is Anna Zimmerman. Anna is the coordinator of financial aid and scholarships. Obviously, she knows what she's talking about for the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Her topic today is going to be how to avoid any of the scholarship scams and to be able to watch out for scholarship displacement. Now, along with Anna, we're going to have Janie Stevens. Janie is Associate Director of Recruitment for the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And again, they're going to be talking on the same topic. So what we're going to do, we're going to get started with Anna. Anna's going to give us some brief information, and then Janie and I will both jump in after Anna's done to have a sort of a panelist discussion to be able to discuss some of the information that you had and then some questions that I possibly have. So ladies, thank you so very, very much for being here. Anna, it's all yours.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So hopefully everyone can see this. I wanted to thank Virtual Scholarships Fair, Infinite Scholars, More College Offers. It's awesome to be here this evening. So as Laura mentioned, we are going to be talking about how do I avoid scholarship scams and watch out for the relatively new phenomenon of scholarship displacement. So as Laura said, I'm Anna Zimmerman. I am the Financial Wellness Coordinator at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And within that role, I provide one-on-one direct financial coaching with students about budgeting, about scholarships, about financial aid, compensation packages, really any financial questions that students have. And so this is very near and dear to me. I want to protect the good intentions that you have in finding these scholarships and make college more affordable for you. So this evening, we're going to start off by talking about scholarship scams, what scams are out there and how can you identify them. I'll even give you a couple of examples, and we'll talk about how to identify or how to recognize some of the warning signs. I'll give you some scholarship safety tips to help you as you navigate your search. I'll do a brief discussion of some resources that you can use to find legitimate scholarships. And then at the end of our discussion, I'll talk about scholarship displacement, which is a situation where private scholarships or outside scholarships can actually reduce your other gift aid from institutions and the kinds of questions that you can ask to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. So before we get started, I just, as Laura said, want to give you a sense of what the market looks like out there. We all know that there are hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in scholarship funding available to our students. But what we've seen is that every year, nearly $100 million is lost annually to various student aid scams, including scholarship scams. These scammers are really preying on students that are looking for opportunities to reduce their overall college costs. And the number of students that are being scammed is going up every year. So we want to make sure that you have the tools necessary to identify some of these challenges. So to start off, let's talk about what are some of the common scholarship scams out there and how can you recognize them? So the number one thing that I see is fees. Scholarships should not cost you money to apply, and they should not cost you money to receive. Some of the common scams that I see out there are charging for an application fee. So you'll go through a scholarship application and at the end, they'll say, oh, and you have to submit $3 or $5 or $10. And oftentimes students have made it through the entire application process. They're a little tired and they say, okay, I'll pay whatever it takes. But you should never have to pay to apply for a scholarship. Anything more than postage and an envelope, and most scholarships today don't even require that. Another thing that we see is on the back end where an institution may reach out to you and say, congratulations, you've won a scholarship, but you need to pay us a $25 disbursement fee or a processing fee. Again, a legitimate institution should never charge you to receive scholarship funding. If there's any expense to getting the money to you, a legitimate institution will take that under consideration and they will pay that. Another one that we're seeing more and more commonly is institutions approaching students and saying, hey, I have a secret exclusive scholarship list that if you pay $7 or $10, I will release it to you. And these scholarships are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the pool is very, very small. Again, this is preying on students feeling like there are exclusive opportunities out there that they're missing out on. But as we'll talk about a little bit later, and as Infinite Scholars has really emphasized, is there are hundreds of legitimate places to identify scholarships. You should never have to pay to find scholarship opportunities for you. Another common situation that we see are scholarship applications requesting really personal financial information. A scholarship application should not require your social security number or anyone you know. It also shouldn't require that you share any direct banking information or your FAFSA PIN number. If a scholarship application is asking for data like this, they may be trying to steal your identity or take money from you directly from a bank account. If you've been awarded a legitimate scholarship, they may reach out to ask you questions about where you would like the money deposited. Most private scholarships allow you to send the funding directly to your institution of choice, or if they choose to send it to you, they'll usually send it as a paper check, or they will call you and discuss what next steps are for you. Another thing that we see are guarantees. As more and more students are contending with the rising costs of college, there are some scholarship organizations out there, illegitimate scholarship organizations out there, offering to apply to scholarships on your behalf. Not only is this fraudulent behavior, others are pretending to be you, but these institutions cannot guarantee any results. So even if you were to pay one of these institutions, there's absolutely no guarantee that you would receive a scholarship, but also they don't know you better than you do. So I always encourage students, stay away from any institution that guarantees that you will receive money just by filling out a simple application or by paying a small fee. And finally, surprise awards. Some of my students in my office have actually received fraudulent text messages or emails saying, congratulations, you won a scholarship. And they say, I've never heard of this institution. I don't remember applying to this scholarship. If you didn't apply, you didn't win. Oftentimes, these scholarships will also put intense time pressure on you. They'll say, respond immediately, or you'll miss out on this opportunity, or only 10 scholarships available. This time pressure is really unfair to students, and it makes you feel like you don't have enough time to do additional research. So if you feel really intense time pressure from an institution, that's another indication that it may be a scholarship scam. So I know that it's easy to talk about some of these warning signs, but I wanted to empower you with some actual examples of scholarship scams that I've seen students combat and face in the last couple of years. So our first one is you, the student, receive a text from an unknown number. It says, hi, Angie, congratulations. Based on your GPA, you've been offered a position in the ABC Honor Society. After paying a $75 membership fee, you'll be entered to win hundreds of scholarships and will join a prestigious group of scholars changing the world. This is a fantastic resume builder. There are only 10 spots open at your school, so reply to this text to secure your spot. So I'll let you take a couple of seconds and reread that text. What are some concerns or some questions that you would have if you were the one to receive this text message out of the blue? So some of the questions that I have right off the bat are, number one, have you ever heard of the ABC Honor Society? If you haven't heard of an institution that's reaching out to you by text, you can always ask a professor or an academic advisor. Hey, I got invited to this honor society. Are you familiar with this? Do they have a chapter at my school? Generally, they'll be aware of what's available to students and can help steer you in the right direction. Another question I would have is, if this scholarship or if this opportunity is based on your GPA, why are there only 10 spots available? Shouldn't it be open to everyone at your university with the necessary requirements to get in? And finally, is there any information about this society online? I always recommend do some diligent Googling. Type in ABC Honor Society and ABC Honor Society scam ? To see what other people are saying about the institution. You should also be asking yourself, are there other benefits to joining outside of just being entered to win scholarships? $75 on a student budget is not nothing, and you want to make sure that there are other opportunities or other things that you're receiving in exchange for that membership fee, not just a vague opportunity to be entered to win scholarships. And I see that we have a question in the chat. Are there any legitimate scholarship clearinghouses where you apply once and it goes to multiple programs, or are those generally a scam? So in answer to this question, it depends a little bit. So there are many individual institutions, colleges, or universities that do use a general scholarship application where you complete one scholarship application and are entered to win different scholarships that match your criteria. There are also some community foundations or even state programs that operate similar to this, where they have a general scholarship application and will use information about you like your GPA or your ACT score and enter you for multiple different scholarships. This is really convenient because you can complete one scholarship application and be submitted to 10 or 50 or hundreds of different types of scholarships. That said, you do want to make sure that you're checking it out, potentially running it by your financial aid and scholarships or a college advisor to say, hey, are you familiar with this institution? Another good rule of thumb is, like a lot of the things that we're talking about this evening, if it feels uncomfortable, if they're asking you for money, if they're putting really intense time pressure on you, if they're actively reaching out to you over and over again, pressuring you to submit your application, it may be an indication that it could be a scam. So just be conscious of the questions that they're asking you. That's a great question. So coming back to the text message, you have a couple of these questions. Based off of that information, my verdict is that this is likely a scam. That said, many students will be invited to join a legitimate honor society during school. There are honor societies specific to your major, honor societies specific to your school, or even honor societies specific to your year in school. If you are invited to an honor society, I always recommend that you check to see if the organization is affiliated with your university or if there's an active chapter at your university. The membership requirements should be very clear. What is the necessary GPA? Do you have to submit any additional application? And what is the fee? That information should be very clear and upfront for you. And then finally, again, you want to make sure that the benefits outweigh the costs. $75, $60, $100 is not nothing. I know that for me, I joined the Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society, which is targeted towards business students in my senior year of my undergrad. And one of the reasons that I chose to join the Honor Society, aside from the fact that they were active on my campus, they did different service projects, but I was also interested in pursuing an MBA later on. And what I found was that if you were a member of Beta Gamma Sigma, a lot of MBA programs would actually waive your GMAT or your standardized test requirement because that membership indicated that you had a high GPA at a school that was accredited. So for me, that was a huge benefit that allowed me to not have to take the GMAT or not submit my GMAT scores to certain schools. There were also some application waivers that I was eligible for just based off of my membership in that honor society. So again, look into the benefits, decide whether or not it makes sense for you and your financial situation. So let's do another one. So you receive an email out of the blue, subject, congratulations on your scholarship. And they say, congratulations, you've won Google's Innovator Scholarship. The scholarship is for $2,000, and to receive the scholarship, you must submit a thank you note and a processing fee of $25. These steps must be completed within 24 hours to receive the scholarship. Otherwise, another winner will be chosen. Sincerely, Google Scholarship Committee. So what are some concerns that you might have based off of reading this email? A couple concerns I have is number one, why would Google, a huge company with their own email platform, use a Hotmail account? So always be sure to check out what is the subject, who is this coming from? If it's coming from a long list of numbers from a Hotmail or Yahoo account, that might start to raise some questions for you. Another thing is, why do I have to pay to receive a scholarship? We talked about this. You should never have to pay a processing fee, especially for a huge institution like Google. I'm pretty sure they can pay the $25 or they can pay any fee there would be associated with actually cutting the $2,000 check. And finally, why is there so much urgency to accept a scholarship? Only 24 hours to get 2 things completed? This is very uncommon. Most of the time, any legitimate scholarship institution will give you at least a week to decide. And so those are some of the questions that I would have. Based off of this, my verdict for this email would be definitely a scam. Suspicious email, intense time constraint, and a fee to receive a scholarship. So those are some of the warning signs that you might look for. And we have one more. So let's say that you get a letter in the mail. It says, congratulations, dear Lee, you've been awarded the no application required ABC scholarship based off of your excellent GPA, your community service, and your financial need. This scholarship is worth $4,000. Included with this letter, you'll find a check for the full scholarship amount. This scholarship is to be used for school expenses, including but not limited to tuition, room and board, and textbooks. Sincerely, the ABC Scholarship Committee. And then you can see that you also received a check for $5,000. What are some questions that you might have after receiving this letter? Some of my big concerns are, A, you didn't apply for this scholarship. Why would they be willing to give you money? Again, nearly every scholarship is going to require that you submit some form of application. Some institutions, universities, and colleges have automatic scholarships, but those still require you to apply to the school by a certain date to be considered.
I'm listening to.
Another question that I have is the listed scholarship amount and the actual check are for different values. So they say that you've won $4,000, but the check is for $5,000. A few days later, you get a call, or the next day, and they say, hi, Lane, this is Dr. Lee. We sent you a check from ABC Company for a scholarship. The scholarship check was incorrectly written out for $5,000 instead of $4,000. To make the process easier, please send us a wire transfer for the difference of $1,000 back to us immediately. You hang up the phone and feel a little concerned. It seems like they were putting a lot of pressure on you to send that wire transfer back with the difference of $1,000. Oftentimes, they'll call you multiple times in a short period with increasing urgency. They might even imply legal action that you could get in trouble for keeping the full $5,000. But what many students find is that if they choose to send a wire transfer, or if they never choose to send a wire transfer and just try to clear the check, the original check never clears. It was never actually a legitimate check in the first place. You should never have to send money back to a scholarship institution. It's their responsibility. And if in a very small chance they actually make a mistake, most of the time they're going to let you keep the money because it is their mistake. And again, that time urgency thing, if they're making you feel guilty, they're making you feel pressure, they're making you feel bad, that gut instinct is generally telling you there's something wrong with this scholarship situation, there's something not right. So I see a question from Steve. If you come across something that you think is a scam, can you report it somewhere? Absolutely, and we will get to that answer shortly. So before we get there, let's dive into a couple of scholarship safety tips. So some recommendations I have for students who are particularly cautious about scams include don't respond to a cold contact. So keep a record of any scholarships that you apply for, including the website, the title of the scholarship, how much it was for, and when you submitted your application. If someone reaches out to you about a scholarship that you never applied for and says, congratulations, you won, don't respond. Another tip I have is do not share your financial data. This includes your social security number, your credit card numbers, or any bank account information. Another one is look up the scholarship. There should always be information about your scholarship online, as well as a way to contact the institution. If there is absolutely no way to get in contact with the scholarship institution, that's an indicator that it may be a scam, as they're waiting for you to submit a processing fee, they're waiting for you to submit an application fee, but there's no contact to get that money back or to ask additional questions. And then finally, if it looks too good, it probably is. This is a general safety tip for any type of scam. There are lots of legitimate scholarships, and if you can't verify that one is legitimate, or one makes you feel uncomfortable and you reach out to someone in financial aid, someone at the scholarship institution, someone at your school, and they also can't verify that it's legitimate, simply move on. There are lots of other opportunities, and there's no reason to get hung up on one singular opportunity. Kind of going to the question in the chat of what do you do if you have been scammed? Number one, I just want to tell you that there is no reason to feel guilty. While there are some basic things that you can do to protect yourself, scamming people is a job, and it's not your fault if you're scammed, but you can't ignore it. So these people are professionals. They know what they're doing. They're successful for a reason. So here are a couple things that might happen if you've been in a situation where you've been scammed. So number one, you paid for a scholarship or had money taken from your account. So that wire transfer institute, you wired someone $1,000 or $100 and you found out that it was a scam. My first recommendation is to contact the credit card company or the bank and tell them that it was a fraudulent charge. Explain that there was a scholarship scam, and oftentimes they'll be able to give you next steps. One of the next steps they might recommend is consider adding account monitoring. So ask the bank or institution if they can watch your account to see if there are any other suspicious withdrawals. What we find is oftentimes if a student has shared financial information or if they may have made one payment to an institution, that institution will continue to bill their account. Usually it's small numbers and something that you might not notice if you're not watching your account actively. Another great thing is that credit card companies and the bank can help give you a direction of who should you make additional reports to. Sometimes if it's a particularly large scam, they'll even help walk you through making a police report if necessary. If you've given out your social security number, your identity may be at risk. What this means is someone may be using your social security number to open credit cards, to open lines of credit, or otherwise pretend that they are you. You can visit identitytheft.gov to take steps to protect and monitor your credit so that no one can open an account in your name. Identitytheft.gov is also a great place to report any scam that's happened to you, and they have additional resources about where you can report to institutions like the Better Business Bureau, which ranks individual companies, and you can write reviews of this company was a scam or this company is illegitimate. Finally, if you happen to have given away your username and password, within the scholarship scam world, this tends to be you've given away your studentaid.gov username and password or your FAFSA PIN number. My recommendation is immediately create a new strong password and username. If you need to, you may have to contact the institution and say, hey, I need to change my password. I was a victim of a scholarship scam. While you definitely should not use the same password for multiple accounts or for multiple websites, if you have used the same password, change that information on any other website. Because if your password has been compromised for one website, chances are scammers may use that same password for other accounts. And if you're using the same password for multiple websites, they may be able to access even more information about you. So we've talked a lot about warning signs. So I see a quick question in the chat kind of sticking on the reporting side. So I might have missed it. Is there a website you can go to in order to check if a program is legit, like the BBB? So as I said, the BBB stands for the Better Business Bureau. So they look at different businesses and individuals can submit reviews where they say, this business is legitimate, I had a positive experience with them, or this business is illegitimate, I did not have a positive experience with this institution, or they stole money or things of that nature. So the Better Business Bureau is a great place to go. I can also briefly share some additional resources. So another recommendation that I have is you can report, oops. You can report to the Federal Trade Commission. So they have a website called reportfraud.ftc.gov. This is used to report any form of scam in the United States. I also have been talking about the Better Business Bureau. So if you go to bbb.org/scam tracker, you can submit your experience with an institution that you believe scammed you. And then finally, you can report to the state attorney general. So the attorney general offices, they're the ones who actually go after scammers and prosecute these crimes. So you can find your individual state attorney by going to usa.gov/state-attorney-general. Usually there will be a short application to fill out, just the website, any additional information that you have, and any documentation. And then the state attorney general's office may reach out to you for some additional information if they need to find out more. So that's a great question. So these resources are available and they're fantastic places to go if you have already been in a situation where you have been scammed. So diving back in, I know that we've talked a lot about the negative side of things, the warning signs, what do you do? But I also wanted to give some recommendations for where you can look for legitimate scholarships. So number one, you can always start at your high school and look at your desired universities. Most high schools and universities will keep a scholarship list that are available both to their individual students, but also they'll often include community scholarships and other scholarship resources. Going a little bit broader, you can look for foundations in your neighborhood, your city, and your state. These are great opportunities because they tend to require you live in a particular geographic area, which can sometimes limit the pool and increase your chances of being awarded. Another opportunity is to search by specialty. So you can search for scholarships by subgroup based off of your major, your gender identity, your ethnic identity, or the geographic region where you live. Again, by using these specialties, it narrows the pool of who can apply for that scholarship and generally increases your chances of being awarded. Another opportunity that I like to emphasize is talking to employers. Many employers offer scholarships and tuition discounts, not only to students if you work at an institution, but also to your parents and children of employees. I was just talking with a student earlier this year. They worked for a local car wash and they had worked there over the summer. They talked to their manager and said, hey, are there any tuition reimbursement or any scholarship opportunities? And they were able to get $2,000 to go to school. It was a summer job. They worked there for, I think, 30 hours a week and were able to get a scholarship specifically because it was offered to their employer. And again, when we're talking about limiting the pool, it doesn't get much narrower than people who work at your specific employer. So this is a great opportunity to ask around and see if that's an option for you. And then finally, you have different search sites. You can sign up for weekly or monthly newsletters. I always recommend complete your profile as much as possible so they have a lot of information about you and can really tailor their recommendations to your identity or to your interests. So Laura may talk about some of this later, but here are some scholarship resources that are available to you. Infinite Scholars has a fantastic scholarship guide that you can download on their website. A couple other of these big scholarship search engines include FastWeb, Big Futures by College Board, Sallie Mae's Scholarship Search, and the US Department of Labor's Scholarship Finder. These are not the only ones out there, but they are a great place to start if you're wanting to sign up and just, again, kind of get those monthly or weekly emails so that you can be looking through on a regular basis. And my final topic for this evening is I wanted to talk a little bit about a phenomenon called scholarship displacement. Not many students or parents have actually heard of this situation. Scholarship displacement happens when you receive a private or community scholarship, and that leads to a reduction in other forms of financial aid, like an institutional scholarship or a scholarship from a university or college. So an example of what this might look like is, let's say you're looking at a school and they estimate that their total school cost for a year is $30,000. Schools should provide you a financial aid award letter before you actually start the school year. That financial aid award letter breaks down all of the aid that you've been offered, both gift aid like grants and scholarships, which you do not have to repay, and aid like loans, which you do have to repay. So here we have a student, they've been offered federal grants at $8,000. They've also been offered a school grant of $5,000. They had a school scholarship of $10,000, and then they were offered student loans for the amount of $7,000 to fill in that gap. You never have to take out student loans, but they will often be included in your financial aid award letter so that you have that opportunity available to you as well. So scholarship displacement happens when you are awarded a new private scholarship. So most of the time, in the situation you're seeing on the screen, there is no scholarship displacement. You receive a private scholarship of $5,000, and you tell the school that you're going to be receiving $5,000 from an outside institution. They take that into consideration and lower the amount of student loans you've been offered. So they say, amazing, congratulations, you have extra gift aid that you don't have to repay. You can only receive up to $30,000 in aid, so we're going to reduce your student loans. Clearly, you don't need as many student loans for this year. Scholarship displacement happens when a private scholarship is added, and as a result, the school decides to take away some other form of aid. So in this situation, the school, chances are, had a need-based grant. So they said, we give grant money that doesn't have to be repaid to students with a high level of financial need. And when this student said, I've received a private scholarship for $5,000, the school said, that's fantastic, congratulations. You no longer meet our qualifications for high financial need, so we're going to take away this school grant. The impact of this is that your private scholarship has just replaced another form of aid. Your student loan offer is still the same. So there's been no actual addition of any gift aid. It simply replaced something else. It is completely up to schools to decide how they are going to manage private scholarship funding or outside scholarship funding and how it will impact their individual grants or their individual scholarships. If you're actively applying for private scholarships, I always recommend reach out to the schools you're interested in and their financial aid departments and ask, if I receive a private scholarship, will that have any effect on my financial aid award package? Specifically, will that have any effect on the institutional grants or scholarships that I receive from your university or college? They'll be able to answer that question up front, and how they answer that question will help you determine how actively you should be pursuing private scholarships. As you can see in this situation, that school grant was probably automatic. The student did not have to apply for it. They probably did have to apply for the private scholarship, but they're not reaping the benefits. So this helps you decide if your institution uses scholarship displacement, it may make sense to focus a little bit less on private scholarships and more on institutional scholarships, or to try to negotiate with the financial aid office and say, I know that I've received these private scholarships. Can they be added on as a bonus and not replace institutional aid? Again, this is specific to individual institutions. It is up to them to decide how they are going to handle this topic, but it's important that you ask these questions so that you have all of the knowledge possible before making a school selection. And with that, that completes my prepared remarks, but I love getting questions from you all. As Laura mentioned, she is a fantastic resource, but I also have Janie Stevens from our Office of Admissions in case you have any questions about the University of Missouri, Kansas City specifically.
Okay, and they will tell you I'm very seldom speechless, okay, but I am. So Janie, you're here. Let me let you introduce yourself to our audience before I go into the list of like the very few minimal questions that I might have to be able to further our discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Dorsey. My name is Janie Stevens. I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment at UMKC. So me and the team that I support, we are here to help students through all of the processes that are involved in applying to and exploring college. We work with both first-time college students, transfer students, and adult learners. I have a wonderful team, a few different teams that work with all of our different students, go out to high schools, community colleges, and community partners to just do general college 101 application workshops and all of the next steps that it takes to explore the opportunity of higher education and what those steps look like. So that's what my team is here for. It looks like Amelia has their hand raised. If you have a question, please go ahead and post it in the chat. I'm not sure if we can unmute participants to ask questions, but if you can drop those in the chat.
Okay, so no, we're not unmuting the participants to ask the questions, but I'm taking a look at the chat here for them. So if you put it in the chat, I'm moderating the chat. One of the things that we did have in the chat, there's a question, are there any special types of scholarships at UMK for STEM majors?
Yeah, so University of Missouri, Kansas City has all different kinds of scholarships. And one specific type of scholarships we have are called academic unit scholarships. So each of our academic units or major programs, so dependent on what you are planning to study, there could be specific scholarships that are offered just for students like you and students who are looking to pursue those specific majors. So there's a whole kind of array of different options, and it kind of is tied to what you're looking to study. So a couple of different STEM options. If you've participated in robotics clubs or Project Lead the Way, stuff like that, that's stuff that we get you connected with our School of Science and Engineering to look for scholarship opportunities in that. We also offer a few full ride scholarships to the university for high achieving students, some overall in all majors, but then there's also some that are offered by our Kansas City KCP&L that are sponsored by a local company here in Kansas City to do full ride scholarships to the university, which is very exciting. So there's a whole different kind of array of options, and I could go through a ton, but you're not going to remember them. So the best thing to remember is me and Anna. And when you get to that point in the process, reach out to us because we are here to help make that easy for you to be able to find all of those type of opportunities that are there for you at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Thank you for that question.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's get back into okay, so on one of the things that we talked about is the thing, there was a question about the Common App process. And I know that some of the students understand this. Okay, so the way the Common App works, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can put in one application and pay for apply to multiple colleges across the spectrum, correct? That's just the Common App for application. There is no Common App for scholarships, like where you just put in one and it applies for scholarships across the line.
So there's not one completely universal scholarship application. That said, some individual institutions, for example, the University of Missouri, Kansas City, we actually use a common application structure for many of our competitive scholarship applications. So students complete one general application and are submitted for hundreds of different individual scholarships, and then are also given the opportunity to complete additional application steps for specific scholarships. Some institutions do it this way, some institutions do not. There are also some community-based foundations that operate similarly, where they may allow you to complete one general application and submit you for dozens or even 100 different scholarships. It really depends on where you live and what you're interested in. I know that we in Kansas City have a local foundation that operates that way. And so it's helpful to look when you're looking at these different foundations or when you're working with a college advisor or someone in your scholarships department, that you ask, are there any opportunities where I would have a common scholarship application or a general scholarship application where I could complete one and be eligible for multiple. However, there's no one uniform national scholarship common application, unfortunately.
Okay. One of the other questions that we have here in the chat, and we know this, and I'm sure that it's important for our students to take a look at that. Are most private scholarships only given to incoming freshmen, or can they be used with sophomores? Or some scholarships are used for all 4 years? You have to be, I think that one of the things that students have to be aware of, that you have to be very careful with that, because thinking that, yeah, just because I got this in my freshman year, and then when you get to sophomore year, all of a sudden you're running short of money.
Yeah.
Janie, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would love to bring that up with students, because you work so hard while you're in high school or community college to take that next step to get to your university and bring that funding in. But your scholarship applications don't stop there. Your scholarship applications will go throughout your time at a university. And something to watch out for is how long, or what are the terms of the scholarships that you're being awarded. Was it a one-time scholarship? That's a word that you want to watch out for. A one-time scholarship means they're going to disperse it once in your freshman year, but then you might not be getting that as a sophomore. So is it a one-time scholarship? Is it tied to a certain amount of credit hours? Our courses in college are tied to credit hours. So generally speaking, a 3 credit hour course is 1 class. So sometimes your scholarship can be per credit hour. Sometimes it will be for 4 years or until you receive a bachelor's degree. So you just really have to watch that fine print. And something else to kind of remember is you want to keep looking when you get in college, because some colleges, UMKC is an example, there are some scholarships that are actually only offered to sophomore and above. So once you get into, because we're very cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of one-time scholarship opportunities for college students going into college and for high school students to apply to, but then you need more support. We don't expect you to just be able to pay for the rest of college after that first year. So there are other opportunities that are just offered to sophomore, junior, seniors, or those transfer students coming in as they are continuing students. So that way you have the opportunity to connect with people on campus, connect with your professors, to write you recommendations, or to show that you're really going to excel in certain areas of your studies. And there are scholarships that are tied to that. So great question. And your scholarship journey does not end when you enter into college. It continues on throughout your whole time at college.
And one thing that I would add on to that is oftentimes we see students that receive private scholarships, and the private scholarship funding can either be split by semester. So you might get, if you were awarded $5,000, $2,500 in the fall, $2,500 in the spring. But some private scholarships actually give you everything up front. And so you may receive the entire $5,000 for the fall, which may lead you to have some additional conversations or questions as you're paying for that spring term, because you won't be receiving it again in the spring. So that's a question that you can often ask once you've been awarded a private scholarship. You can ask, is this going to be split over the semesters, or is this something that's going to be front loaded and put entirely on your fall semester, in which case you'll want to make additional plans for your spring or save some additional money.
Okay, which leads me to my other question. Anna, I had a particular question with your particular title, okay, because I like the whole financial wellness, making sure they do that. I always tell students that besides your admissions counselor, your financial aid counselor is the next best friend that you need to have on campus, okay? Typically, and you can speak to your university or how this works totally, okay, is the person that they work with coming in as a freshman, is that the person that they're going to work with throughout their time there? Is your specialty freshmen and incoming students, and then when they become sophomores, they hand it over to another seasoned person who is looking at it from a different perspective? And who tells the students, especially first generation students, that this is how you need to navigate this?
That's a great question. So at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, your financial aid coordinator is tied to your last name. So from the moment you're accepted all the way through, even if you stay with us till a PhD program, chances are you're going to be working with the same financial aid coordinator, which is a really great opportunity to develop that relationship over several years. Not every college or university operates that same way, but most of the time, if you go to the financial aid website and you go to our staff or contact us, they'll have specific information about how their financial aid coordinators are assigned. Some schools are assigned based off of your major. So again, you may be working with the same person all 4 years, but if you change majors, then you may be assigned to a new coordinator. Some may have some specification of, for example, we do have some of our financial aid coordinators that specifically work with our law school or our school of medicine. So there may be some specifics based off of your year in your program, but oftentimes you'll be working with the same person for multiple years, which is, again, great because you develop a relationship with them where you feel really comfortable asking these questions. And I always recommend that. Please do not ever feel uncomfortable reaching out to a financial aid and scholarships office. Our job is to help translate this information for you. We understand that it can be really confusing and overwhelming to understand the student loans and the different scholarships. So a financial aid department can always sit down and talk through what are the renewal criteria for your scholarship? What are these different student loans and what do they mean for you? We're all here to support you.
Okay, and I have one more question, and I know John's gonna be crazy because I'm going to go way over time today, but this has been just so amazing and so interesting. Okay, so this is probably out to everybody, but Janie, you probably could answer this too, especially for first generation students. It is important that when you're working with the parents or whatever, that they fill out, there's a form that makes sure that they can fill out so that you can have the discussion with the parents as well as the student. And if the parents don't fill out this information, it becomes difficult for them to be able to call and get financial information. So Janie, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things because another thing that my team handles is orientation. So we handle the introduction into college for every single student that comes through. And we have a multi-tier approach to make sure everyone understands this. So we have an online module, and again, this is going to be different for every university, but we try to make sure everyone really understands that when you get into college, we do have to regard the student as an adult and as the one who's responsible for their education, their payments, and everything. Now, I know I, at 18, was not ready to take on all of that responsibility. I needed my family's support and help. So the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, is what covers these laws where we are only able to talk to the enrolled student, but there's ways, and at UMKC we call that additional authorized access, that students can fill out for any of their parents or supporters to be able to receive information. So for example, I would go in and I included my dad and my mom as additional authorized access users for any financial information. Now there's multi-steps to it. I could give them access to my grades, my financials, or things like that. So you get to choose as a student what you are allowing. Now, this is a very important conversation for you and for families and supporters to have with their students. What are your expectations going into college, and what kind of access are you going to be given? So at orientation, we go over this with every single one of our incoming students, and we require them to go through modules that show videos and ways to go in and actually submit that access. But we talk to both parents and supporters. We have a session for them separately at orientation, and then students as well, to talk through that process and to make sure everyone's on the same page and has the tools they need to have those conversations and to understand what that access means. So that's something that students can go in and allow. I will say that my family and I didn't have the best conversation about it beforehand. So I went in and I gave them the financial information, but I didn't give them the grade information. So, you know, you just have to be realistic about and have that, maybe sometimes tough conversation about what is expected. If I expect for them to help me pay for school, they expect to see my grades. So, you have to have some of those conversations about who's allowed to access your information, and make sure that's in place so that if I need them to help pay or I need them to help support me in any way through this process, they can call the university and they can get that information on my behalf.
Right. Anna, to just to piggyback on that one, and I promise you, John, this is my last question. Piggyback on that one, some of the scholarships that we know that are there are also grade based. So they're based on maintaining a certain GPA. And obviously the scholarship is going to want to know that you maintain that particular GPA in order to, especially those multi-year scholarships, to be able to award that. So can you speak to that one for one quick minute?
Yeah, absolutely. So in these situations where a scholarship needs to confirm your eligibility or confirm that you have the necessary GPA, oftentimes they'll ask that you will sign documentation that allows that institution to reach out to your school directly to ask to confirm. They generally are not going to give specific, you got an A in chemistry, you got a B in XYZ. They're just going to oftentimes say yes, no, depending on what the scholarship requirements are. But that's why I always recommend read any documentation that's provided to you so you understand what you're consenting to. And if your situation changes at any point, you want to change your consent, always reach out to both your financial aid office and the private institution to say that you want to change something in your permissions. That may change your ability to receive the scholarship. If you don't provide that information, chances are they won't continue to give you the scholarship, but you always have the opportunity to shut down or withdraw your consent.
Okay, perfect. Ladies, thank you so much. I swear I probably got 15 more different questions and we could probably go through this all night. Okay, and then John will be going, listen, you just really went off. But okay, thank you so much. If you guys will stick around, I'm going to go through my part of the presentation and we're just going to wrap this up in case we've got any more chat questions at the end. So John, I really am ready right now. So if you'll just cue it to my part of the presentation, we'll get started.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. All right. So in addition to all of the resources that you had right here, the Infinite Scholars Program offers additional resources also. And we offer this based on going to our website, which is www.infinitescholar.org. You see it there on the screen. There's a resources tab, and that resources tab has a great deal of information. One of the first pieces of information is the scholarship guide, and Anna alluded to the scholarship guide when she talked about it. On the scholarship guide, when you click on there, here's what it looks like. Okay, this is the scholarship guide. The scholarship guide, you can download it if you like, or you can read it online. It's 40 pages chock full of information about scholarships, how to graduate debt-free, how can you help pay for scholarships, how to find and win scholarships, all information. But let me tell you a few key things that are part of that scholarship guide. Okay, the federal grant programs, again, Anna talked about the grant, the word grant. If you see grant is free money, you don't have to worry about paying for it. The federal government has more money given out than anybody, billions of dollars to be able to use. Unfortunately, some of that money goes unused every year. There are some state and city tuition-free options. When I say tuition-free options, there's some state colleges where you can actually go to school for free the entire 4 years and get a degree. If you meet the financial requirements. There's some city options where you can go and get an associate's degree for free, depending on what your financial obligations are, your financial situation is. This scholarship guide provides all of that. If you want to work your way through college, Anna alluded to the student working at the car wash. I happen to have gone through McDonald's the other day. Okay, getting something I probably didn't need. But one of the things that they were advertising for the people that they were looking at hire was tuition assistance program. And with that, if you work at McDonald's and you're looking for extra money, McDonald's will give you $3,000 a year toward your college education. So you can do that while you're working a part-time job. If you want to pay for college through service, the guide offers information about the military, service. There's all kinds of other different service programs that are out there that help you, support you paying for college. Some of them will give you, minimal grants. Some of them, the military has a big full ride option. So their options are there to be able to help you pay for it. You just have to be able to look for it. Like anything else, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Okay. While you're in high school right now, because I know these presentations were geared a lot toward juniors, there are scholarships that you can get while you're in school right now. They're called micro scholarships. And the options for micro scholarships are to be able to take a look at earning while you're getting grades. Like you can get scholarship money for every A you get, for every IB class, and for every AP class that you take. And there's all kinds of different information. There's a website, and the scholarship guide will tell you about that. For need-based and special interest scholarships, Anna was talking about this. Those special interest scholarships will reduce some of the college scholarships, okay? And so you can apply for all of those. And again, we encourage you to apply for them, because even like the example that she showed said, hey, this one will displace this one. There's sometimes the need-based or the special interest scholarship is so high that it works down. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you got extra. And I'm telling you, I was on a campus. I was telling Steve, I was on a campus earlier, and there's all kinds of different things that happen on campus or whatever. So if you've got any leftover money, this will probably help you out in other different things, or as well as buying something, as well as updating your computer or buying the new headphones, or, working with a study group. So all kinds of different things that can be done with these different scholarships. Last night we had a fantastic presentation about how to write a winning scholarship essay. So this information here is, again, scholarship essays are necessary for some scholarships, but writing a winning essay is entirely different, and that's what we provide here. Again, I swear to you, I thought we knew enough about scholarship scams, but Anna has really made us speechless. Okay, I'm getting ready to replace everything in our scholarship guide with everything that Anna just take. Now it's going to make the guide probably 50 pages instead of 40, but I'm telling you, it was just a wealth of information tonight. But a little bit of information is in our scholarship guide also. I also know that, that again, they were talking about, coming to talk to their university. And I know the majority of our students want to be able to talk to all of our universities about college and about going to college. And we understood that making sure that you can talk to college, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so we spoke to some of our college, and we put video presentations together of all the colleges that travel with us on a regular basis. So if you click on our resources guide, the college video library, here's what you'll see. You'll see more than 100 colleges have created videos for you to watch, okay? I specifically made sure that these videos were about admissions and scholarship opportunities, and you'll see me spread throughout here being able to talk about that, doing a lot of the interviews like I'm doing right now to make sure that they provide you the best opportunities possible. I specifically asked them to be able to make sure that when our students call your university, that they're not just calling an 800 number, that you can just reach anybody on that 800 number. I wanted you to be able to talk to people specifically. So if you talk to this university, you'll be directly connected with Anna, or you could be directly connected with Janie, depending on who they've given us there. But you're going to be able to talk one-on-one to someone at that college. You won't be pranced around with an 800 number that that you can't get to somebody. You're going to go to somebody directly. How do we make this happen? All right, so this is what the college videos look like. Like I said, there are 100 of them. We love all of our colleges. We figured, what can we do? So we arranged them alphabetically. Okay, so there's videos there throughout here. Some of them are 3 to 5 minute short videos. Some of them are 30-minute presentations, but they're in order. So for example, you see Alabama A&M University, and you'll see, so we'll list the university, we'll list the city and state from where it's at. There's a brief paragraph about the university right there, just something brief. And then you see to schedule a one-on-one appointment with that person. For example, at University of Alabama A&M, you can contact Courtney Smith. Okay, Courtney Smith will give you information about scholarships or whatever, but also right up under there, you can click to watch the video that we said that we put together about Alabama A&M. You can do this for all 100 of the colleges and universities. And I recommend that you just take some time, just do a couple or 2 or 3 each day, be able to familiarize yourself with some of the colleges and universities that are part of our network. I, as a university professor, have realized long ago that my students much would rather watch a video than listen to a lecture. Even though I think I'm fantastic, they would rather watch a video than listen to me. So we put together a bunch of videos about different topics that have to do with scholarships, and we put it in our topic video library. Let me tell you some of the videos that are there. Okay, there's a video about the FAFSA. You can't talk to anybody about financial aid without understanding that how important the FAFSA is. So here's an overview for students and their parents, especially first generation, to understand the FAFSA. There is a video out there that decides whether or not you should take the ACT or SAT test. One of the things that when we talk about scholarships, people will say test optional. Well, test optional sometimes is just for admission, but if you're looking at scholarships, sometimes they are requiring the test in order to be, to be for scholarships. And some of the schools are looking at, the test for admissions. You need to know that and whether or not taking the test is for you. There are multiple types of financial aid. As Anna and Janie both alluded to, all the different programs and stuff that they have, and they are specific based on major. They're specific based on, different types of things of that nature. There's all different types of federal financial aid, and this is just a federal, and it's not even taking a look at all the personal. Again, a very good video that'll show you that. When you're looking for private money, you already know exactly what school that you want to go to. You're looking for private money to be able to do that. There's some websites. Anna alluded to some of them too. There's some of them here. There's a brief video that show you 3 different websites that you can use to research for private scholarships. Okay. Again, there's a brief video on on scholarship displacement. Okay. I'm telling you, yes, that's a short one. You can take a look at this one and then come back over here to the video that we're going to put up here that Anna has done today. Again, a wealth of information. Even if you go to the scholarship, the way Anna explained it, you can see that it was zeroed out where there was like different, but you also saw that one section where it said that there was a student loan. And so if you figured out the school that you want to go to and the scholarships didn't get everything and there's just a brief student loan, don't let that dissuade you from being able to go to school. Obviously you're looking to graduate to have a good career and a good job or whatever. You can borrow responsibly where that small portion of that loan can be paid back. And tomorrow you're going to hear the great benefits of a community college. I started out at a community college and transferred over to a 4-year university. Obviously saved us a lot of time and money, in our family. And you hear this consistently now with a lot of students doing dual enrollment. So while they're in high school, they're taking classes at the community college too. And some of them are graduating with an associate's degree at the same time they're graduating with a high school diploma. Think about how much money that's going to leave you when you immediately go to college then as a junior and not as a freshman or a sophomore. So that's just going to be, beneficial to you also. Well, I told you that Infinite Scholars is, we pride ourselves on being able to partner with those that were going to give you the resources that you think that are necessary. And one of those organizations is More College Offers. It's called that just because that's what it is. It has to do more with the college offers that you're going to get and being able to support you on that. If I want you to know anything in particular, I'm always going to bring the top of the line speakers to that. So John Meadows is the key person in charge of More College Offers, and I'm going to bring him back on to be able to tell you a little bit about this organization. John.
Thank you, Dr. Dorsey. I tell you, this was a great program. Anna and Janie, you did a really nice job. Thank you very much. I didn't realize there's so many scams out there. It's pretty amazing what people will do, to capitalize on students. It's really amazing. And your guidance on how to deal with those issues and identifying them was very helpful. So anyway, thank you very much. And I know we could have continued the discussion for quite a bit longer, and hopefully maybe we'll have you back. You know, sounds like there's a lot more to talk about. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you this evening just briefly about More College Offers. We are a website, morecollegeoffers.com. And it's really a platform that we developed about 4 years ago when we realized that a lot of students can't attend the actual Infinite Scholars fairs and meet the recruiters one-on-one. So we developed this to really help students connect with our college. We have a network of over 500 colleges, and it's growing every year, that are looking for students that are premier students like what we attend our fairs. So a lot of them just can't for various reasons. Either we only have 33. It sounds like a lot, but that's not many whenever you're talking about the United States. We're in about 28 markets, so cities. So there's a big gap, still opportunities, but students can still connect with our colleges. And this is really a big search engine that allows colleges to search student information and reach out to those students that they're interested in talking to. It's real simple. There's free, no cost to the students to participate. And basically, you just go to the website and sign up as a student, and then you'll get an email, and then you set your password. It's very secure. You don't have to worry about your information getting compromised in any way. And then you enter about 22 points of information that the college recruiters mentioned that they'd like to know about you, as far as grades, test scores, your major, various other things that you can easily identify and enter the information. And make sure you keep the information current too, because you never know when colleges are searching the information. So anytime you have a grade change or decide to change your majors, please note that in your profile and update it as soon as possible. But anyway, once the colleges identify you as somebody they want to talk to, then they'll reach out to you through their normal communication channels and find out more information about you, to see if you're interested in maybe pursuing a opportunity at their university. Some of them offer scholarship, some of them offer admission. Get a scholarship, you're going to get admitted. But anyway, you can talk to them about scholarship opportunities at that point. If you scroll down the website, you can identify all of the colleges. There's a directory that identifies all the colleges by state. It's all alphabetized, and you can identify the colleges, and there's actually live links to their website. So if you're doing research, it's a great opportunity on the website as well to do some research on various colleges that are affiliated with their network, and just find out a little bit more about their campus life and various other aspects of the university. So anyway, please tell your friends and neighbors, if you have brothers and sisters not quite ready to go to college, get them on. Colleges looking further down the pipeline. They're looking all the way into high school for students, as far as what type of students that they might want to start recruiting earlier. And it's just a great opportunity to get your information out and allow colleges to learn a little bit more about you. And they will reach out to you if they're interested in talking to you further. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out. We're going to talk about our program tomorrow night. It's our last program of the scholarship prep week. It's going to be Sunday, same time, 7 o'clock Central. And it's really how you can save thousands by starting at or taking some classes through a community college. Great option. Dr. Dorsey mentioned she went to community college, so did I. Saved the family a lot, stayed at home, worked, and just really came out debt free. It was just a great option before, went to community college before I went to 4-year and graduated. So great option for a lot of students, and it's really worth your time to watch the program tomorrow night. Now, all of our programs are recorded, and they will be posted on not only the Infinite Scholars resources page, but they will be posted also on our virtual scholarship fairs website. And you just go to the organizations tab on the left as you go into the site. And there's 3 booths. One of them is Virtual Scholarship Fairs booth, and it'll be posted there as well. So we will be posting them on social media and trying to spread the word as much as possible to help as many juniors as we can prepare for college this coming year. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dorsey, and you can kind of close out. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. You know what? Thank you so much, John. I know that we went way over this this evening, but I tell you what, Janie told me that Anna was the best. Anna, she absolutely did not lie. Okay, I'm getting ready to put an asterisk next to that or whatever. Trust and believe. I've been in the industry, in the education industry for 20 years. Okay, I have not received this wealth of information about this particular subject, which is like so necessary. Okay, Janie, you were right. Okay, I'm gonna I'll give you all the credit for this. Thank you all so much for taking time on a Saturday evening out of your personal time to be able to spend some time with our students and family, to be able to be recorded for this important information. Do not worry, because some people are going to be calling you going, wait a minute, did she say this, and that? I'm gonna, don't be surprised if I reach out to you, you have additional questions. You're like, Laura, you're not one of my students. Why are you calling me every day? Because it's going to be so much information that we're going to be sharing with people. So thank you both very, very, very much. Okay. Thank you all at home for being able to be here to talk to us, to making sure that you listen to everything that we have to say. I want to thank my co-host, John Meadows, who has been here, but in the background, Stephen Viola is here too. I am just here. I'm just the face. I turn the letters like Vanna or whatever. I don't make all of this work. So especially when it comes to technology, I play the old ladies card. I'm a retired teacher, so it requires a new youth. Okay, Anna and Janie, whatever, to be here to make it work, to make sure that our students and our families get the organization, get the information that they need. Thank you all very much for all of your help. Okay. Again, we could not have done this without you. So thank you all very much. I look forward to seeing everybody on tomorrow, on Sunday, the last night of our final presentation that has to do with community college. I'm sure that was going to be a robust information too. This week has just been a phenomenal week to be able to take a look at this. So thank you all very much. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us. Go Roos.